If there is one ability that can change the direction of a person's life, I personally think it's the ability to pay attention. Not just to look, not just to hear, but to truly observe, because life is teaching all the time. Through people, through pressure, success, failure, through the quiet patterns that are sitting right in front of us. And the strange thing is, most of the lessons are not even hidden. We just move too fast to catch them. And that's all of us, right? We get busy, we get distracted, we get pulled into our everyday routines. And before long, days begin blending together. We hear things, but we don't always listen. And listening and hearing is, it's really two different things. We see things, but we don't always study them. And yet life keeps speaking, quietly, patiently, through consequences, through examples, through patterns repeated long enough to become impossible to ignore. Success leaves fingerprints, and you can see it in the way people carry themselves, the way they manage pressure, the way they speak, the way they listen, the way they prepare before difficulty arrives. And failure leaves clues too. That is one of the great mistakes we make sometimes. We think wisdom only comes from watching winners, but life teaches through both sides of the equation. What builds, what weakens, what creates peace, what slowly creates chaos, and in some cases, what creates instant destruction. And I think a wise person studies both, because some lessons show you what to do, and some lessons show you what never to repeat. Both can save your life, metaphorically, and sometimes literally. As an example, a person can watch someone destroy their health and quietly decide, I need to take better care of myself. A person can watch a family fall apart and realize, you know what, maybe I need to be more present. Like, I'm sure if you are a doctor or a nurse and you see the things that you see, you probably go home and you squeeze your kids a little harder. A person can watch money disappear through years of carelessness and think, I need to tighten my life up. And that's not judgment. That is just learning. And to be honest, if life lets you learn an expensive lesson at a cheaper price, pay attention. You don't have to touch every fire to understand that fire burns. Sometimes observation is really mercy. It's a gift. Sometimes watching carefully saves you from problems that you don't have to go through. And I think this is where becoming a student of life really begins. Not in a classroom, not because someone just hands you a grade. It begins when we stop rushing past our own lessons. When we start asking better questions. Not just, why did this happen? But what is this trying to teach me? What can I learn from this? That question changes everything, because disappointment is no longer just disappointment. It becomes information. Failure is no longer just failure. It becomes instruction. Pressure is no longer just something to survive. It becomes a mirror. I've failed on a lot of things, and I don't even feel bad about it now, because I always learn something and I always get better. Failure can be your setup for your greatest move. Like I said, it becomes a mirror, and that mirror shows us things. Sometimes it's strength, sometimes it's weakness or patience, pride or fear. Sometimes the places where we still need to grow. Pressure has a way of removing the costume. A person can sound calm when life is easy. A person can talk discipline when nothing is actually testing them. You got all these guys out here saying stuff. A person can talk discipline when nothing is actually testing them, or getting at them. But when problems arrive and something is really coming at you, what are you going to do? And sooner or later, that happens to all of us. Pressure introduces you to people. And if we're paying attention, it also introduces us to ourselves. That's why difficult seasons can become powerful teachers. Not because pain is good, not because suffering is something to chase, but because pressure tells the truth. It shows us what our habits have been building. It shows us where we were prepared, and it shows us where we were just pretending to be prepared. And if we're willing to learn from it, I think we come out wiser. And after a while, you begin to understand that life rarely collapses all at once. Just like a ship rarely sinks after one wave, water enters slowly, And most problems in life work the exact same way. A little neglect here, a little avoidance here, a warning ignored, or conversation that you probably should have had, but you delayed it. A habit excused for way too long. And we can get into a million examples about that. And eventually, what was small becomes heavy. Life rarely screams first. It usually just whispers. That is why awareness matters. If we pay attention early enough, we can correct things before they become harder to repair. And that applies to health, relationships, money, peace of mind, to the way we speak to ourselves, self-talk, to the direction our life is quietly taking. And the more you study your life, the more you realize that wisdom is usually hidden in ordinary moments. And again, I always say this, I am with you here. I'm not speaking from a mountaintop. I'm not saying, I am not. I'm just telling you what I've learned, what I've observed. And I've been through a lot. I think I'm qualified to, I really do think I'm qualified to have this conversation, as are a lot of us. I still have things that I need to correct. And I know that. I know it. I have fixed a lot of things in my life. A conversation can teach you. A reaction can teach you. Watching someone handle disappointment with grace can teach you. Watching someone lose control over something small can also teach you. There are lessons everywhere. You can learn from a disciplined person who keeps their word. You can learn from a peaceful person who does not need chaos to feel alive. You can learn from someone who listens more than they speak. And you can also learn from the opposite. There are people out there whose emotions run their entire house. From the person who repeats the same mistakes and calls it bad luck. From the person who refuses correction and then wonders why the same problems keep returning. Again, not to judge, but to understand. Because all of us have blind spots. All of us. We all have areas where we need to grow. We all have warnings we have ignored. We all have moments we look back and think, I should have paid more attention sooner. That is the big part of being human. The goal is not to walk around acting superior. And again, I always say that. The goal is to become teachable. And teachable people are dangerous in the best way because they keep improving. They keep adjusting. They keep learning from everything. And they do not need life to destroy them before they finally listen. The moment a person becomes unteachable, growth starts dying quietly. Ego is expensive. It really is. It really is. It makes us defend what we should correct. It makes us explain away what we should examine. It makes us choose being right over becoming better. And that is a costly way to live. A student of life stays curious. Curiosity keeps the mind alive, and it allows us to learn from people older than us, younger than us, stronger than us, more successful than us, and even from people whose path we should never want to copy, because everyone can teach you something. Sometimes one sentence from the right person can change your life. One habit, one perspective, one small discipline, one example of how someone carries themselves. That may be all you need. You do not have to copy another human being completely to learn from them. Well, he walks like this, so I'm gonna walk like that. Well, if he walks like, an idiot, no offense, but you don't have to do that. But you can take the positive from it. We do that from our parents, a lot of us. I was just having a conversation with one of my friends, Eddie, and we were talking about how we try to take the lessons from our parents, throw away what we think is bad and keep what we think is good and add it to our own parenting. And it's true, because I think that confuses people. You may admire one person's discipline, but not their attitude. You may respect another person's courage, but not their choices. You may study someone else's successes while also learning from their mistakes. That is wisdom. Take the lesson, leave what does not belong to you, and keep growing. The older I get, the more I believe life is less about giant breakthroughs and more about small wisdom practiced constantly or consistently. Small corrections, small disciplines, small amounts of awareness. These things may not look impressive at first, but over time they begin shaping a person. A man who learns to pause before reacting becomes different. And that's taken me a while. And I'm still not all the way there. I'm a former boxer, but I've learned. A woman who learns to protect her peace becomes different as well. That is where real growth begins, not with pretending, with seeing things clearly. And today, seeing clearer is harder than ever. There's so much noise now, so much information, so much distraction. Way too many people speaking at once. We scroll quickly, we react quickly, we forget quickly. But wisdom usually enters slowly, quietly. It requires enough stillness to ask, what did I miss? That question can save you years. Did I miss the pattern? Did I ignore the warning? Did I keep excusing something that was becoming dangerous? Did I confuse busy with making progress? Did I mistake comfort for peace? Those are not easy questions, but they are useful questions. And useful questions can change the direction of lives. Because once we start paying attention, patterns begin to show themselves. We see what strengthens us. We see what drains us. We see which environments make us better. We see which ones keep pulling us backward. We see how we respond under pressure. We see where we need to mature at, and we begin understanding ourselves more clearly. That matters. Because you spend more time with yourself than anyone else on earth. You ought to know how you work. What steals your focus, what brings your discipline, what brings out your worst habits. And that is not overthinking, that is self-knowledge. And self-knowledge is power when it leads to correction. So maybe becoming a student of life is not complicated. Maybe it begins with paying better attention to people, patterns, consequences, pressure, and sometimes through a person standing right in front of us, showing us exactly what to do or exactly what not to become. The question is whether we are humble enough to learn, because the people who continue learning continue evolving, and the people who stop learning slowly harden into limitations. So stay curious, observant, teachable, and most of all, study yourself honestly enough to keep growing, because life is always teaching. The question is, are we listening? Perform or perish.